Hey, so I get it. Government contracting, it sounds so easy. Everybody keeps talking about it. But you're probably hitting a hurdle like, how exactly do I know how to price my products and services so I can put some money in my pocket, so I can stay in the game, so I can keep my doors open? Well, don't worry. Today, I'm going to be teaching you guys some mistakes that hopefully you can avoid when putting this structure together to create the right pricing strategy for you so you can generate these millions. Stay tuned. We'll talk about it later.
It's just different.
Yeah, you already know what it is. Pure money, baby. I keep a couple in the bag, homie, I ain't gotta brag. Even when the hater try to doubt me, I just got another contract. Watch the dollars follow back. Let me tell you one thing about me. Said I like my money pure. I like my money pure. Okay, I like my money pure. I said I like my money pure. Oh no, I like my money pure. The bag is secure. Yeah, I like my money pure. I like my money pure. I like my money pure. Come and hang with the gang. Get some free game added to your mainframe. Gotta keep your mind sharp, we gotta maintain. And it's even better when the squad on the same thing. Steady swishing on the competition. Swish. We ain't tripping about the opposition. We on a mission and we got a vision. People in need, we believe we got a lot. I give a couple in the bag, homie, I ain't gotta brag. Even when the hater try to doubt me, I just got another contract. Watch the dollars follow back. Let me tell you one thing about me. I said I like my money pure. I like my money pure. Okay, I like my money pure. I said I like my money pure. Oh no, I like my money pure. The bag is secure. Yeah, I like my money pure. I like my money pure. I like my money. Been slept on, money never stepped on. We increasing positivity until the stress gone. Satan tried to hold the squad back, but we kept on. We ain't making this up, no Revlon. I ain't trying to make you blush, but this a highlight. We send the high vibes, homie, this a high life. We rising far above the game, that's a flyby. But we still connected to the source, that's that Wi-Fi. Reception, now we answer the call. This squad taking questions and we answer them all. We don't wanna see you fall, we wanna see you ball. We all gon' eat with the peeps, we gon' feed them all. Couple in the bag, homie, I ain't gotta brag. Even when the hater try to doubt me, I just got another contract. Watch the dollars follow back. Let me tell you one thing about me. I said I like my money pure. I like my money pure. Okay, I like my money pure. I said I like my money pure. Oh no, I like my money pure. The bag is secure. Yeah, I like my money pure. I like my money pure. I like my money pure.
Oh, my bad. What's happening out there, everybody? I appreciate you guys for hanging out with me here today. Again, we're going to be talking about some mistakes that hopefully you guys can avoid in 2024 when it comes to pricing your products or your services to generate yourself some revenue. Of course, I talk government contracting, so we'll be talking about pricing for that. But honestly, the techniques that I teach you guys is for just all business, period. You can't quite approach the government when contracting if you don't have a business in place. So the principles that I'll be teaching you guys today about that, it should actually go to every business niche that wants to sell a product or service there. So tune in. Make sure that you guys hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that share button. Let 3 other entrepreneurs know about what we got going on over here. I'm debating on whether I'm going to be changing my live times from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. Not sure yet. I think we will make that change a little bit later. It was football season before, and I wanted to watch football at night. But football season is off now, so we may be going back a little bit further. I know my West Coast people and my Texas people were asking for it to be a little bit later. So we probably will have that happening going forward. So on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, again, we are streaming live all of the time. We try to go to all platforms, but for sure it will be on YouTube, and you can always go back and watch those. Don't forget, Make sure that you're putting in the comments, whether you're watching live or you're watching on replay, where you are tuning in from. You never know who could be watching. It's an opportunity to network, and business is all about networking. It just takes one person to change your life. So make sure that you guys are taking that time out to get that network popping so your life can change. And don't forget to put in the comments, I am a millionaire. Shout outs to you, Timothy, for doing that right there. Guys, remember, it starts with you, right? I can teach you a million things. I can show you exactly how I'm doing stuff. But if you don't believe that you could do it, it will never, ever happen. So when we say millionaire, it's honestly for you to start believing so you can get out there and start executing. So even if, again, you're watching on replay, drop that I am a millionaire in the chat with you guys. All right. Now, if you guys have any questions throughout tonight of the stuff that I'm going to go over, make sure you put a Q in the chat followed by your question, and I will try to get those answered for each and every one of you guys. Once again, this is my time to pour back into the community. I have a lot of people always say, Travis, can you answer this question for me and that and that? And it's during my time. Honestly, you guys show up right here and I'll answer your questions completely for free, but you do have to show up during my time that I'm giving you guys for that there. So take advantage of it, all right? Gavin, what's happening with you, brother? Pleasure to have you here in the building. Oh, it's out of town in Texas. What part of Texas you in? Probably. I'm going to take a guess. I'm not going to say Houston. I'm going to go Austin. Yeah, I'm going to go Austin. All right, Z, what's happening with you? Pleasure for you being here in the building. My guy Robert out in Jacksonville, Florida. What's happening with you, Robert? Hope you're having a blessed day. Deidre, what's happening with you out in Mobile, Alabama? What's going on? Glad that you were able to make it here on live. Iris, what's happening with you out in Dallas, Texas? We'll see. I don't change my answer to say that you're in Dallas because I'm hoping that you're closer so you can network. No, he said he's in Beaumont, Texas. Oh no, that's Rudy. Rudy, what's happening? Beaumont, Texas, in the building. See, all the Texas people in the building. I told you. Asked me to come on a little bit later so they could get on here. So here you guys have it. I'm on later. Y'all showed up. So I do appreciate you guys for doing that there. All right, guys, let's get ready to dive into this thing. Once again, if you guys have questions about this stuff that I'm going to go over today, be sure to ask your question. There is no dumb question, okay? Also, I would like to give advice ahead of time that I'm not an accountant. I'm not a licensed CPA or anything of that nature. I just give you guys advice on things that have helped me out to get myself going. And even myself, I have a certified CPA. I have a lawyer. I have all of those bells and whistles that you will need when scaling and growing a business. But the reason that I teach you guys the way that I did it and, the stuff that I know is because you don't need the lawyer. You don't need the CPA, the accountant when starting out. You ain't got no money. You know what I'm saying? And when I say you ain't got no money, I'm not trying to say that you broke, although you guys may be like myself. I was broke when I got started, and that's perfectly fine too. But what I mean by you ain't got no money, like $25,000 ain't no money. $80,000, that ain't no money. So a lawyer is going to eat through $25,000 like it's nothing. Your CPA, depending on, when you start doing business, the CPA start basing things off your transactions. So if you got 50 transactions every month, 100 transactions every month, the CPA costs start going up. Them taxes, they start going up. Bookkeeping, the fees start going up. So in the beginning, I'm telling you right now, you're probably not going to have the money for all of these individuals. But that doesn't mean that you can't not have your books correctly. That's not an excuse. That doesn't mean that you can say, I didn't have the money for the lawyer, so I was dummy to law. That's not an excuse. But what I am trying to advise all of you guys, and I feel like I should sit down with a bunch of millionaires, and I wish they were all sitting right here so I could ask them all the question and they would tell you guys all the same answer is, when we all got started, we didn't know any of this stuff. We didn't have the money for the accountant. We didn't have the money for the lawyer. We didn't know how to do bookkeeping, but that didn't stop us from making money. We made a lot of money and we still didn't get sued, although the lawyers will try to pump fear into you and let you believe that you're going to get sued the day that you're doing business. You ain't got no money. Who gonna sue you? Like, do you guys understand? I mean, maybe you guys haven't been to court yet because you guys haven't built a business to go to court, right? And I ain't talking about child care or things going on, assault and battery. And I ain't talking about that type of court. I mean, contracts and law court. Litigation costs a whole lot of money. So the odds of me taking you to court over contracts is going to be slim to none until we get over a certain dollar threshold. Then by all means, it would make sense for me to go through this litigation. But before that, this is why I keep advising people, ain't nobody coming for you. And I argue with lawyers all the time about this, but I always look at them at the end of the day when they get out of the room and everybody's left right there looking at me like, damn, Travis, you really stood up and talked to the lawyer like that? I say, yeah, the lawyer needed your money. I mean, ain't that how they survive? Like, they need your money. And that's anybody in business. It's just like the real estate agent puts you in the house, but they don't really know anything about investing and taxes and how things should be structured through trust and stuff when you go to purchase that house. That's not their job. Their job was to put you in a house that you wanted. The lawyer's job is to defend you when you got a problem. So instead of, waiting for the problem, I tell you, hey, pay me right now. But again, I'm trying to warn you, if you don't have the finances for this stuff, don't spend it yet. But what you do is you start the process of finding a lawyer. You start the process of finding the accountant that works for you so you can know how much it costs. Because here's our number one problem when it comes to business of why we can't keep our doors open. We don't charge enough. And today I'm going to break down just two basic terms that hopefully, I'm telling you guys, if you guys start to understand these terms, you will start to understand pricing a whole lot more. And you will get why the regular dollar bottle of water costs just $1 over there, but when you get it over here, it costs $10. It'll start to make sense when I start to go over these two definitions, these two terms, I mean. And when you start incorporating this into your business, you will see why you must charge more money than what you're charging right now, whether we're going after government contracts, whether we're doing contracts with business to business, or we're just selling things on the internet, whether it's a product or service. I'm telling you right now, 9 times out of 9, you've got to charge more money to keep your doors open. And the two terms that I'm going to break down to you will explain all of this tonight. All right. Once again, guys, don't forget, make sure that you are hitting that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that share button. Guys, if you're on Instagram and you want to stay in tune with us throughout the night, I can only keep you guys on for an hour on Instagram, but we are live on YouTube. You can click the link in my Instagram bio, click on the YouTube logo, and you'll be able to come over to YouTube and watch us live. So just remember, if you do get cut off in an hour, you can always come over here and continue to watch this. Now, the first thing that I want to pull up here, guys, now, I know I'll be freestyling my notes off the top of my head. How many of you guys know the terms indirect and direct costs? Okay, two terms, indirect and direct costs. If you know what those terms are, put a me in the chat. If you don't know what those terms are, put a no in the chat. So once again, if you know what indirect or direct costs is, put a me in the chat. If you do not know what indirect or direct costs means, put a no in the chat. Me if you know it, no if you do not know it. Of course you know it. Lou, you know what that stuff means. What's going on, man? I see we got my brother Josh in the building. What's going on with you? Pleasure to have you in the building, man. That's, again, definitely a great relationship that y'all want to keep in contact with there. If you haven't joined our Pure Money community yet, by the way, make sure that you guys visit dollars2cents.com. I'll put the link here to DOLLARS, the number 2 cents.com. Click on community at the top and you guys will be able to join in on our community completely for free so you guys can start networking there. All right, so I see we got a couple people that do know what indirect and direct costs mean, and we also have a couple people that don't understand what it means. So my people who do understand what it means, I'm going to need you guys to participate because we got to help our individuals who don't quite understand what it means yet. And, you know, when it starts talking business and terms and definitions and things, you know, it honestly can mean so many different things to so many different people depending on how they view it. So when we go over this and I ask for your input, please, by all means, let the individuals who don't quite get it understand, you know, the way that you see it so they could kind of get a better understanding of this. All right. So the first thing that we're going to talk about is direct cost. OK, now, this, again, is incorporated into your pricing strategy. This is how you start to understand exactly how much money you need to charge. Now, mainly direct cost and stuff is going to be shown up when we start talking about contracts. OK, you know, people that are playing around on the internet with hobbies and selling ebooks and things of that nature, they really don't use this stuff. So if I sit down and talk to them about their business and numbers, it don't make sense to them. They're just like you. They're saying, no, I don't get it. Well, when it comes to government contracting, you have to know what this stuff means. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It's highly important that you know what this is. Now, if you're just selling products to the government, they're not going to, I mean, you really don't need to know what this stuff means. But if you're trying to scale a business, even if it is just a product-based business, you still need to know what this stuff means. And I'm saying that because a lot of people get involved with government contracting because you, of course, heard people talking on the internet that told you don't have to read anything or do anything. And I mean, you can win a contract like that. You don't have to know what direct costs mean or indirect costs. But if you're going to stay around here, you must know these two differences. Now, direct costs, to simplify it, again, what's the term? Direct. Okay, we like to break things down. The government will use a lot of words together, and it's important that you break each individual word down by itself so you can understand the definition, the way it's being used in a sentence. Okay, so in this sentence right here, or this term right here, it's saying direct costs are expenses directly tied to the project or contract that you're working on. All right. So maybe if I give you guys examples, and I'm asking my people who know what direct and indirect costs, give me some examples in the comments of what can be direct costs. Once again, these are our expenses directly tied to the specific project or contract that you're working. So if you have 10 different contracts, all 10 contracts have their own direct costs. They never ever commingle. They never ever see anything. Matter of fact, when you go to create your books, okay, which, I highly advise you guys have software to do this stuff. Don't y'all try to do this in your head, okay? Now, in the beginning, getting started out, you may have to do it in your head because you don't have the money for software. But you guys have to have some type of software to separate projects. Because if you was to go get audited by the government and they come here and they realize that you're commingling monies, right? That your direct cost and your indirect cost is doing one of these, they crip walking across each other, you're going to get in big trouble for that. So we have to separate these. And part of it, again, is here understanding, okay, we have a contract or a project. It goes into its own budget category and it has its own direct costs. All right. So we got right here. All right. We said Timothy Vaughn. I said Timothy Vaughn. Vaughn said labor and materials for project. Absolutely right. You're going to see labor often. Robert said labor. Anytime you need personnel to work on that project. So again, you cannot have, and people try to get away with this, and I'm telling you, you get yourself in a lot of trouble. So cybersecurity people try to do this all the time, right? They'll have one cybersecurity specialist working on a project for HHS. And since it's cybersecurity working from home, it could be possible a lot of downtime. Okay. So that same person was working on HHS and they was working on a project for Department of Energy. They billed HHS 8 hours for that person and they billed Department of Energy 8 hours for that person. That's illegal. But see, they're directly associating one person's costs to two projects. Now, what they could have did was said, okay, person A is working 4 hours on this project and 4 hours on that project. When the timesheets came in and the bill came in that you would send to them, 4 hours of their direct costs is associated to this project. 4 hours of their direct costs, their labor costs, is associated to this project. We can't commingle like that. All right. So all labor should be, when you hire employees, when you got contractors out there, it should be tied to one project and one project only. Once again, these are your employees. I did not say you. I'm not talking about the people who work in your office. If you got people working in your office like your admin, HR, CFO, I'm not talking about them. Direct costs are the actual labored workers that project is calling for. And once again, I often break this stuff down when people ask me about, what's needed on this project, or, can I go after this government contract? I have to read the contract to understand the costs. This is what I keep trying to explain to you. I can't tell you the answers without reading, because I need to know how much direct cost is going to be in this thing. It tells us in the RFP the exact. It doesn't tell you the cost of the actual personnel, but it tells you I need 5 FTEs. Well, if they need 5 FTEs, that means 5 people are going to have direct costs to that project. All right. What else we got here? We got materials. All right. Supplies. Okay. Absolutely. And I want to kind of, a little shaky on the supply side. Now, yes, supplies. Okay. But because some people will try to do stuff like, oh, well, my office needed paper and the project needed paper. Well, you can't do that. You know what I'm saying? You can't supply yourself and that project. Although I know you didn't need all the paper for that project, you cannot charge a customer or the government and tell them that the paper is going to cost $50 and then you bust it down and take 100 sheets of paper off of it because they're not going to use all 100 and give them the 400 sheets that they needed. Well, they paid for all 500. You need to give them all 500. That cost was directly associated, and you wrote that in your proposal that the paper costs $50. You have to buy the stuff with that money. That's why it's called direct costs. It's associated to that project. Also, too, if you're doing a time and materials project, a reimbursement, right? Which those are the contracts we want to get. But for the most part, the government ain't going to give you those contracts unless you're working on like construction or research. Research is the only way that you can do it. I think research are the illest contracts ever because you don't have to come out with an answer. And nobody can tell you what the cost of research is. It can start out at $100 today and end up at $1 million tomorrow. It's called research. But yeah, the supplies, you got to watch out a little bit. Utilities, no. Okay. All right. Utilities is not direct costs. Now, why do I say that? Utilities is what? Lights or electricity, water, gas, right? Those are utilities. Did your one contract with HHS use up all of your electricity? I'm pretty sure it didn't. Right? Did your one contract with HHS use up all of your water? Like, did you only use the water on HHS? I'm pretty sure you didn't. Right? Everybody used that water. Everybody used that electricity. So it's not directly tied to that project, so it can't be a direct cost. I hope I explained that a little bit better there. And we're going to get deeper into this thing. All right, so let's give a look here. I gave some examples of what a direct cost is. Okay, wages, material, and equipment. These are going to be your three direct costs, your main direct costs: wages, material, and equipment. This could be computers that are needed on a project, tractors, trucks, TVs, lumber. I mean, whatever materials you need to get the job done, or equipment that's needed to get that job done by any means necessary. But again, that tractor can't be used for multiple projects. That crane got to be sitting right there for that project and that project only. And I used a crane for example because a crane, honestly, like let's say the crane sit there and it does the job for a week, and they're not going to use the crane again for another 4 weeks. They're going to have to keep the crane on site and keep charging a direct cost to that project, because it would cost too much money for it to come back here. And then since the crane wouldn't be making no money sitting at a shop, they would have to put the crane back out to another project. And now that old project can't pull from the previous project. So a crane's just got to sit there and eat money for as long as that project is there. And all of that is a direct cost to the project that you got to calculate, right? So equipment can add up. Wages and material, it all adds up. Now, indirect costs, that's our next one. I want you guys to give me an example in the chat. What are some examples of indirect costs? Now, I'm going to give you guys a definition. Indirect costs are any expenses not directly associated with a project or contract. So we dealt with everything that was associated with the project. Now we got a bunch of expenses that's not associated with the project, but they're still expenses. And we still have to register them in our books. We still got to put them in not labor categories. We still got to categorize this stuff in our books. If we was to get audited, they want to see the indirect cost in the books. They want to open the books and say, I can see all the indirect costs. I can see all the direct costs. So once again, in the chat, what do you guys believe are some indirect costs? Things, expenses not directly associated with a project or a contract. All right, let's see what we got here. Oh, well, I see this was a good one right here. This went back to direct. Travel expenses for people who travel specifically for the project. Absolutely. I'm glad that you used that terminology. Specifically for the project, right? That ain't business development, where I flew over to Texas today to talk about that project. And then I flew over to Houston to talk about that project. Then I drove up to Dallas to talk about another project. No. But if you're flying around because, maybe you're doing a FEMA project or a OSHA project or something of that nature, and you got to keep going back and forth specifically for that project, yes, the travel, your mileage, the food, the hotel, all of that stuff starts becoming a direct cost now because it's associated with that one project right there, right? Now that we're talking about indirect costs, yes, utilities fall under a keyword called overhead. Okay, overhead is, oh man. Overhead is a category that got a whole bunch of shit in it. And that really is going to come down to the person and their accountant, because overhead can get nasty. Okay. A lot of people can put a lot of things under that title called overhead. All right. Insurance. Yes. Insurance. Now, why would insurance be an indirect cost, right? Because insurance is for your entire business. That means all of the projects that you got going on, right? Insurance is for your car. Your car takes you to all of the projects, all of the meetings. It doesn't just take you to one, right? Your health insurance, your dental insurance, like all of this stuff is indirect costs, right? All of the projects that you're working on needs it. It's not just one of them. And I hope you guys are starting to, like, every project needs it. What do I mean by every project needs it? Well, look, if you didn't have your business insurance, then one, your doors wouldn't stay open. Okay. But two, that project couldn't have been, the government couldn't acquire your services without having that insurance. Now, imagine if they just tied insurance down to one project. The cost of insurance would be crazy high if you had to get insurance for every individual project. Instead, you can get insurance and stretch this bad boy out across all of your stuff. The utilities, like I said, the lights, the gas, I'm trying to think of other utilities. All of this is stretched out towards everything. When you open those doors in your office, it's to turn the lights on and the heat on so all of your employees that aren't directly associated with a project, like your admin, your HR, your CFO, all of them need to come sit in a space to be comfortable to build all of the projects, to make sure the employees are comfortable for all of the projects. It's an indirect cost because it's associated with everything, right? So I like that right there. Say everything overhead. Yes. Office rent. Yes. Your rent, your mortgage, whether you're working at a home office, those are all indirect costs. Senior management salaries. Great one right there. Senior management salaries. Let me tell you this. You are senior management, whether you know it or not. Okay, so that means your salary is an indirect cost, unless you did like I did when I was in the beginning. I got my first government contract. I seen on there that the manager, okay, was getting paid quite a bit of money, and I put myself in that position as the manager. I had to clock in and show up every single day like the employee because I was. But I couldn't work on another project. Y'all heard my story multiple times. I had to get out of there. I had to get out and leave that direct cost alone. And then I pulled myself away and I started getting a senior management salary. I pay myself, I believe, and you guys, this is why you need to sit down with a specialist, because you do have to pay yourself a reasonable salary. And I put quotations on reasonable because nobody has an answer directly of what that looks like. They have certain percentages or whatnot. But this is why you need a specialist to tell you. You should be an S Corp and you should be taking a reasonable salary for yourself. That will be an indirect cost, your salary. Now, if you're smart, okay, you're going to take like a $50,000, $60,000 salary. The more money you make, the less your salary is going to be. When you want to make more money, you get something called bonuses or fringe benefits, right? These are, again, indirect costs. But a specialist will break it down why you're only taking a $60,000 salary and you're getting the rest through bonuses and fringe benefits and all that good stuff. I'm not going to go into that too much. All right. Workers' comp. All right. Definitely. The training costs. Oh, that's a good one right there. I like that one. Training costs for indirect costs. Absolutely. Guys, whenever you take my training, anything that you learn from me, any programs that I got going on, SB Money Flow, the tool that I've created for you guys, that's an indirect cost. Not only that, you guys should be keeping an account for all this because you get to write it off too. That's the other beauty about this thing called indirect costs that we're doing right here. Everything that's going to fall in that indirect cost thing, we're going to write it off in taxes. You know what I'm saying? Because we have to spend the money to keep our doors open and to keep the money rolling in the economy. So the IRS says, hey, if you are putting your money over here to make more money in your business, to provide more jobs, even if you ain't provide more jobs, just to make more money. If you are putting your money over here into things like training, legal fees, insurances, and things of that nature, well, at the end of the year when tax time comes, since you are a properly structured business, well, we allow you to write that stuff off. So instead of all of a sudden making $100,000 in profit, well, no. I have $100,000 in profit. I had $50,000 in indirect costs. We got to write this stuff off. All of a sudden, instead of getting taxed at $100,000, I only get taxed at $50,000. And most of you guys really, truly don't know about the whole tax bracket thing. Some people, for some reason, they think like when they see the tax bracket, and I'm just throwing these numbers out there, guys, don't quote me on it. I can't remember the brackets off the top of my head. But let's say, you make $150,000. Some people believe because the tax bracket says at 150, you get taxed at like a 32%. And I'm just throwing the percentage out there. Guys, the whole 150 don't get taxed at 32%. You got to go to the tax bracket. The tax bracket says like the first $30,000 is taxed at this percent. And then the next $30,000 is taxed at this percent. And then the next $30,000 is taxed at this percent. Once again, just doing numbers. So now you can say, okay, well, instead of making $100,000 right here where, 30,000 of that would be getting taxed at the highest percentage. According to all of my expenses of my indirect costs, I went from 100,000 down to 40,000. So you only get to tax the 40,000, not the full 100,000, because you gave me away. This is why we want to make sure that we account for our books, that we know what we're doing over here. All right. Now let's see some examples that I wrote down here. Utilities, supplies. I bet you guys didn't know depreciation. Ooh, I love me some depreciation, guys. When y'all start making more money, this term depreciation is going to be one of your best friends. I'm trying to tell you, I love some depreciation, but you can use that too. Lawyers, accountants. Here's another one that I bet I ran out of space, so I couldn't write all this stuff down. Anytime you run ads. Yeah, most people don't know this stuff. When you run ads on social media, yeah, well, you get to write that off too. That's an indirect cost, right? But it should make you a whole lot of money. See, look, when people ask me about the price of stuff and why they got to pay for this and that, I really understand. Like, y'all don't understand business yet. All of the stuff that I charge you guys, you should write off. Again, whether it's my education, which is training, you should write that off. Whether it's my SB Money Flow software, which is your marketing tool, you should write off your marketing tool. That's your website. That's your CRM. You write that off. You need to run ads so you can increase your leads, so you can make more money. Guess what? We already got Ad Master Pro in there, so you can run ads very quickly. Write it off. This is what, like, I don't know how else you grow as a business. But then most people don't have a business. All right? Now let me give you guys an example here. All right. So we got our labor right here, right? So our direct cost of a project is going to cost us $100,000 for that project. That one project for the material, the equipment, and the labor is going to be a total of $100,000. Our indirect cost that we've allocated for that project, once again, we've already talked about what all of this stuff means, is going to be $20,000. Now we start playing with this profit margin thing. See, now y'all can start. I hope y'all are starting to see how to come up with your pricing a little bit better. Now you have something called a profit margin. Well, some people do 15%, 18%, 20%. I don't know. Whatever your percentage that you feel that your profit margin want to be. Now we can add it on there. Now everything's going to start to make sense. I got a 15% profit margin that I want to put on top of this project. And then I have a 5% of contingencies in case things go wrong, because business happens. Like, bad things can happen in business, but what should never ever happen is when things go wrong in business that it goes in your pocket first. Instead, we should have already added that percentage on our cost in case trouble happens that it don't hit us in the pocket. Instead, we've already associated 5% of the entire deal for hiccups. That's what that is right there. This will structure your entire pricing correctly. Why? Well, my direct costs covered all of my employees. See, guys, if you read the proposal, it will tell you how to become profitable. When you don't read, this is why you can't become profitable. Also, if you listen to those individuals that tell you that you don't have to read and you could just like put a number on something for profit, or they've said all types of stupid things that just don't make sense to me. This is how you get your doors shut, guys. The way that I'm showing you is to make sure you never ever get your doors shut, because we don't accept deals that can't cover our expenses. I will never ever do a deal that puts me in the hole. I only do deals that I come out in the black. So here we go. I got an RFP in my hand. It's telling me I need a certain amount of employees. Okay, well, that's $100,000 for the labor, materials, and the equipment for that project. Every employee that I bring on board will be directly associated with that project. It'll cost me $100,000. That's their salary. So how many employees are you going to get out of $100,000 salary? Maybe one, at most, probably two. Okay. See, I've been in business so long, I could just do this stuff off the top of my head. Now, maybe you get some low. I'm in the tech field. So, I mean, maybe if you're in like janitorial or something, you could get 3 employees off of $100,000. I don't know. I'll have to look at that one. But for the most part, you're going to get 2. That's $50,000 a piece. Right. And that's covering all of their, 50,000 is covering their benefits and all of that. Okay. 2 employees. Your indirect costs. Now this is when you say, and here's the other reason why people struggle with their indirect costs, is because they don't have a pipeline of opportunities. See, your indirect costs should be spread out across all of your opportunities. That's where you would understand, okay, the indirect cost allocated for this project is $20,000. So if you got a cell phone, like 5% of your cell phone bill goes towards this project. 5% of your utilities goes towards this project. 5% of your gas goes towards this project. All together, they equal $20,000 for this project, and it's $20,000 for the other 14 projects that I'm looking at. That's my indirect cost. If I added all 14,000 projects up at $20,000 a pop, that's the total cost of all of my indirect costs. All I did was I broke it down and I gave every project a piece of it. So now all of a sudden, I don't have to worry about labor and me going over budget and that because I covered it with the direct costs. I don't have to worry about my cell phone bill not getting paid for, my utilities not staying on, my lawyer making sure they're going to be available, my accountant doing my taxes. I can make sure all of that's done because I covered it in my indirect costs. I can cover in case hiccups come up, in case maybe the subject matter, the employee that I hired, come to find out, they're not smart enough. So I got to hire another employee, which brings on some extra costs that I didn't associate with first in the direct costs. But thank God I allocated 5% of the total project for issues like this. So now I'm still not in my pocket. And then I had a 15% profit margin that said, hey, if everything goes straight for this project and this project only, I'm going to make 15% off of it. Well, now we could just do the math. If I do 100,000 plus 20,000 and I put 15% on top of the 120,000, I'll understand what my profit margin is. If I put 5% on top of that, I know what my contingency price is. So let's take a look. So here you go. 120,000 at 15%, that means that you're going to make $18,000 profit off of the project. When I do my 120,000 plus 5%, that's $6,000 in case hiccups come. If I add my 18,000 plus my 6,000 plus the 120,000, the total project cost that I should have written on my proposal that I submit to the customer is $144,000. When they pay me, I'm going to have in my books that Sam gets paid every 15th and 31st. And once you total it up for the year, it equals $50,000. The direct cost that you paid me for the project, I gave it out like I told you I was going to do in direct costs. Here's the issue. It's called American greed. All of a sudden, somebody may get the project and they like, well, I really don't need two people. I could get it done with one. Well, that's not what you wrote in the proposal. That's not what you submitted. Now you're stealing money. You promised 2 employees and you gave 1 because you realized you could do it at a cheaper way. Well, you should have did that in the beginning in your proposal. They didn't give you $120,000 of direct costs for you to figure out how to get over on them. Instead, you should have figured all of that out in that thing called indirect costs and your profit margins. That's where you figure out how to get your money. You never, ever, ever dive into that direct cost. And that indirect cost, I ain't telling you, when I say you play around and figure out how to get your money, you can write some things in the indirect and overhead, like your car expenses and stuff like that. Like you were going to pay for the car anyways, but you can put this type stuff in indirect costs. So now it's getting paid for that way where you could take your money on the other end and do other things with it. Right? But this is how you guys are going to get a better understanding of how to price your projects. This is how you win contracts, contrary to what other people say. If you do not know how to price correctly, chances are you'll never win. If you don't take your time out to figure out your pricing. You guys notice I never one time said this is the standard price for X, Y, and Z. I never ever said that, not one time in my life. Instead, I told you, you need to sit down. The only thing that I could tell you for a fact that every business 9 times out of 10 ain't deviating from is the direct cost. The reason why is because labor categories are labor categories. Let me show you guys something here. Let me change my screen here for a second. All right. Now, if I was to do here, Where we at? Okay. If I wanted to find out how much it costs for somebody, it's like modern day slavery to me. It's just, whatever. There's no whips and chains and stuff. They just call it a job. So I'll do cybersecurity. Cyber security job. No, matter of fact, security salary. Okay. Now all of a sudden, all I got to do is punch this bad boy in. I can go to ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter tells me in Maryland, okay, because, the price that you pay always depends on the location. Just FYI, one time for a project, like I had to fly out to Fargo, North Dakota, set up shop out there for half a year because the minimum wage out there was a whole lot cheaper than what it is here in the DMV. That was a strategy that I had to go about to win the contract. I would have never won the contract here in the DMV because the direct labor was too high. I couldn't get around it. But the way that I figured it out was to go to a whole new state where the direct labor cost was a whole lot lower because all I needed them to do was read my SOPs and respond how I told them to do. I didn't need a rocket science out here in the DMV that won $117,000 to figure that out. Hell no. That's the beauty about business. You get to strategize. So now if I'm here in cybersecurity in Maryland, all this is telling me right now is the worst cybersecurity person that I know makes $55,321. The best cybersecurity person that I know makes $180,000. So what is that? A little bit over $100,000 gap, $117,000 gap, I believe, somewhere around there, right? Nationwide is $132,000. I'm pretty sure if I went to North Dakota, oops, look, it ain't even got it up here. I don't know, DK, North, ND. Is that what it is? And, it don't even pull up Dakota anywhere. Okay, maybe it won't let me pull up Dakota. Let's see Iowa. Hey, Iowa is cheaper. More expensive than Maryland. That's crazy. But anyways, now you can see exactly how much the price is for the labor, right? I don't have to guess about this. It's going to be somewhere in this range. And I'm telling you, for the most part, you're going to be somewhere in this medium range. Ain't nobody taking no $55,000. So you're going to be somewhere in this medium range. Chances are you can't go up here to this high range when we talking government contracting. If you get somebody at this high range, you're probably going to be too high on your proposal. So just imagine this, all right? We're taking direct cost. You get all of your labor people charging you $170,000 a year for your cybersecurity. I get all of my cybersecurity people charging me $120,000 a year. I am $30,000 or $50,000 cheaper than you. What a project called for 2 FTEs. I'm $100,000 cheaper than you before we even got into anything else. That was just labor costs. Direct labor costs that I can't do nothing about. So boom. Now that I got my direct labor costs, well, now this is when, I am honestly able to strategically take contracts from people because here's what I do. I see the highest dollar amount, $180,000. I come down. I tell all of my employees I can offer you somewhere around this range, 158 to 169. I always let the employee negotiate first. I let them tell me how much they want. If they don't come nowhere near this price range, I ain't about to tell them this. They may come somewhere around here like 135. I had associated 158. They want it for 135. Cool, 135 it is. But what I'm telling you, I don't mind paying top dollar, and this is why. Okay? Yes, my direct labor costs cost more than most people's direct labor costs, but let me switch my screen back here.
Just different.
Okay? My indirect cost is way cheaper than everybody else's. Because I didn't go out there and listen to the people on the podcast world and tell you got to have an office space with a business name plastered on the outside of it, and that you got to buy all this office furniture and all this stuff. I didn't do that. Instead, my office is in my house. I also get to write taxes off from having a home office, which saves me a lot of money too, right? I figured out how to strategically save myself tons of money in business and indirect costs. So I don't mind paying more in indirect because my indirect is going to be cheaper than anybody. Now, when I say cheaper than anybody, it still may be $20,000. But a lot of that $20,000 is more profit for me, right? Now, all of a sudden, the person that needs to go out there and get 20 deals in order to, have a nice, successful lifestyle, well, I only need to get 10. Because my expenses, I didn't listen to the fools on the internet. I started cutting stuff so I could compete. A lot of individuals who are getting started out in big business, they always say, well, I don't get a chance. I can't get a seat at the table. Well, your expenses is too high. You went out there and you bought that damn BMW because somebody told you that you could write your car off in taxes. Well, guess what? You wrote your car off in taxes. It cost $100,000. You actually made $100,000, but you wrote it off. So that tells us you didn't make no money. Your expenses is just too high. See, if you take my strategies that I tell you and you live below your means for the next 3 to 4 years while pocketing all this money, the rest of your life will be the best of your life. You'll be living just like me too. Have money to do whatever you want. But it's a process to this. It's not overnight. It can't be overnight because it took you 30 plus years, 40 plus years to learn all of the bad habits that you've learned thus far. So you can't learn this good stuff that I'm preaching to y'all overnight. It's a process. Baby steps. But the first thing that we got to figure out is our direct and our indirect costs. The only way that you're going to figure out your indirect costs is you got to sit down and start budgeting. You got to know how much your life costs. You got to know how much it's costing you to do business. If you don't know, you'll never be able to properly structure your pricing. It just is what it is. So I hope that I showed you guys a very simple way of how I go about this bad boy, coming up with all of my pricing. Drop a fire emoji down there in the chat if you guys picked up anything that I put down. Also, if you guys have any questions, feel free to drop those in the chat, as I will start the process of answering those. My people on Instagram, you guys are about to get cut off in a couple of minutes. If you guys want to continue watching the show, which we won't be here for too much longer, but if you would like to continue, click the link in my Instagram bio, click on the YouTube logo, and you can join us over here on YouTube to continue watching here. All right, let me see if I got any questions that popped up here. Let me move these notes. Please explain again the benefits of paying on the 15th and 31st. Great question, okay? All right, so let's say, my bad, I'm trying to turn this heat off in my house real quick. This thing heating up in here. All right, so most people want to get paid every Friday. Every employee wants to get paid every Friday. I know they do, but we're not going to do that. We're definitely not going to do that. Me paying on the 15th and 31st allows me to save myself money. Okay, so every time an employee comes on board, they got to work in the hole. So I can't bill somebody something that I don't have. So when an employee comes to work for you, they have to produce the time, right? They give you the timesheet, and then you submit that timesheet. And not that you get paid per hour or whatnot, you're getting paid on a project, but you need some type of substance to bill people, right? So if my employee submitted their time on Friday and I paid on Friday, technically I'm just taking a risk and praying that the customer is going to pay me for, that charge that my employee charged me. And it's kind of like if you were working for a company and you asked, what's that thing when you ask your employee for an advance, right? That's exactly what you're technically doing. Your employee gives you their timesheet on Friday, you pay them on Friday, you're technically just giving them an advance because they didn't do any work for you to charge. So instead, most situations, the employee comes on, they work, they usually do something called a week in the hole. In our situation, they're going to be doing 2 weeks in the hole, if not more. Okay. But they do a week in a hole so that way the customer or the employer can get something to charge against. And then they pay out. That's the concept, right? I wanted to teach you guys the concept of that. So since that's the concept, well, what if I said, employee, I'm going to pay you on the 15th and 31st? Well, now what happened? I don't have to pay out every Friday. Instead, I got to pay 2 times a month opposed to 4 times a month. The other thing is when an employee comes on, they're going to be doing at least 3 weeks, if not more. Why? Because they got to do a week in a hole. So if they worked a week, well, I don't submit timesheets on the first week. I told you we pay on the 15th and 31st. That means I accumulate all of the time on the 14th, right? And then I submit, which I had to go in the hole as a business. I couldn't charge anybody anything yet. So since I couldn't charge, you can't charge me. So the employee gives me their timesheet on the 14th or the 15th. This is their first week. Could be their second week. They could have started on the 1st. I don't care. I don't have no money for them on the 15th because we didn't have anything to bill against. So now all of a sudden they give me their timesheet on the 15th. I don't have to pay them that 15th pay until the 31st. I just saved you a whole month of pay. Now what ends up happening is you could possibly start catching up from all of your other contracts paying you your money. Even that project right there. Maybe you did submit your billing on the 15th. Maybe they allow you to submit twice a month. Well, great. Now, all of a sudden, I submit on the 15th. By the time the 31st comes, I should be getting paid. So now I'm really not coming out of the pocket to pay my employees. The project's paying for it. All I'm trying to do is save your money. What do I mean by save your money? Yes, you're going to be paying your employees, but I don't want you to go broke doing it. Instead, that money that you would pay out every Friday, you can go put that in a savings, a high yield savings. You can go put that into some the marketplace that you want to invest in. Now that money can earn you 15, 20% before payday comes. This is exactly what big business does to us, guys. This is why they don't want to pay us our money. Because every day they get to hold money, they make money. This is the other reason why I don't want to pay my employees, but on the 15th and 31st. If I gave the money away every Friday, I couldn't invest it. I invest all of the money that we make in my business. The minute we make money, it goes into investing. I pull it out a couple days before I got to pay my employees because money knows how to make money. We just haven't put it in that type of situation yet. So hopefully that explained the benefits of the 15th and 31st. And I mean, I could go a little bit deeper, Say Iowa is definitely making the bag on cybersecurity. Anybody in there? Madison, Wisconsin in the building. Cheeseheads. Oh, I forgot. My man Vaughn is out there. Hey, that's a good guy to make a relationship, man. Vaughn is definitely a great person to make a relationship with. Hopefully, be him. You figure out a way to reach out to him. make that connection for you there. What type of business are you in? I've converted a little bit now. I'm really into the consulting business. We do specialize in government contracting on the tech side of the house. So tech is where I grew up in. That's my background. I'm a computer engineer. But, I've been in business now for a little over 11 years. We've, thank God, been able to generate, quite a bit of revenue, and that's been able to expand, my capabilities. I don't do anything anymore. I hire people to do a lot of stuff. But as of today, we're partnered with a pickle company out in Texas. So, shout outs to Mr. Frickles Pickles, packaging and stuff like that. So we know how to do that very well. Get your stuff put on shelves. We work with air. We test for mold and do fire drills for the government. Our largest projects are on the help desk side with the tech. We also do cybersecurity. A little bit into investing in the real estate. What other businesses do I got out there? We sell guns and ammo. I hope I can say that on the internet. I hope I don't get pinged for that. But War Dogs, if you've ever watched that movie, okay, we do that too. We used to sell products to the government, Apple products. I don't quite do that anymore. We got out of the product field period. Great place to get your feet wet. It just ain't my thing. That shit took work. I thought I didn't have to work to sell products. Come to find out, I do. And then most importantly, BM, God has given me the finances, which has allowed me to buy back my time. And in exchange, I've turned that around to help you guys out. We teach government contracting and, my tech side in me. We've built software to help you guys out, no matter the business. With SB Money Flow, it's a business in a box. So as I'm actually explaining that too, I would highly advise you guys join my 30-day challenge that is starting on March the 2nd. I believe it's the best thing that I've created to help you guys learn about sales and marketing, which is our biggest specialty when it comes to helping out small businesses. I've learned that you guys do not know sales and marketing. And I don't care whether it's government contracting, B2B or B2C. If you do not know sales and marketing, you will struggle. So in this 30-day SB GovCon Business Challenge, I'm teaching you how to be a consultant. A consultant can sell to anybody and technically anything. Yes, this will be a 30-day challenge that you've probably never, the information that I shared, you probably never heard about it a day in your life. You may have heard a little, but you didn't pay attention to it. I'm teaching you guys in this 30-day challenge exactly how I've cheated my way to millions of dollars. Yes, I said it, how I've cheated my way to millions of dollars. Nothing that I've done I've came up with off the top of my head. I've copied other people. I had a hunch that the man upstairs gave into my mind in a dream, a thought. And then I found people who successfully did it and I cheated off of them. And I'm going to teach you guys in this 30-day challenge how to cheat. If you really truly want to change your life by 2024, you should be on this challenge. It starts March 2nd. You can get on it or not. But if you really want to make an impact, I'm telling you, you're going to need to be on that thing. Okay? SBGovConLive.com. Get yourself registered. The minute that you get yourself registered, you go tell 2 other entrepreneurs about what we got going on. Give them your affiliate link. And guess what? You're going to make 20% commissions every time somebody signs up. Because I want you to make money with me too. SBGovConLive.com. Sign up today. Shout outs to Instagram. I guess they don't cut us off in an hour no more. All right? Hopefully that explained to you what type of business I got going on right there. You're more than welcome. You're more than welcome. It's an amazing challenge. Shout outs to you, Dexter. I appreciate you being on there. Does being a minority-owned business or a woman-owned business really give you the upper hand in bidding? It used to. It used to. No. I was joking about the minority thing. So the minority thing is kind of out the door now. Instead, we're going to use disadvantage, okay? Because everybody's disadvantaged now. Back in the day, the only person who wasn't a minority was a white male. That means the white women used to be minorities too. But they still couldn't get inside some things because they were white. Well, they found a loophole in the system, and all of that diversity and inclusion and minority stuff, it's gone. Everybody has a fair shake at being disadvantaged in America. So we're going to start using the proper terms. We're disadvantaged owned business, not a minority owned business. So yes, being a disadvantaged owned business or a woman owned business, it gives you a strategy. I don't want to say upper hand. It gives you a better strategy to go after things. So you could possibly compete for contracts that are only for women-owned businesses. So let's say we're looking at a cybersecurity project and I am the best fit for this project. I got all the employees. I know the customer to the T, but the project came out as a women-owned business only. I'm immediately eliminated. My business is not women-owned. The only way that I could go after that is now I'm partnering with you and getting 49% of something that I couldn't access unless I was a women-owned business. Now, granted, you're going to have to compete with all the other women-owned businesses. That's why I'm saying it's a strategy. You never, ever lead with your disadvantaged status or your women-owned business or your black-owned business or your 8A. Don't you lead with that, because if you lead with that, that tells me that you're begging. All those certifications is icing on the cake that says, hey, if I like you, which I like you, OT. You looked at me in the face. You understood my problem. Your capabilities statement really showed that you know how to provide a solution to the biggest issues that I got going on. I really, really like you, OT. And then I looked at the bottom and you say that you're a women-owned business. Well, I'm going to go back to my team and I'm going to figure out how we're going to access you as a women-owned business so you don't have to compete with everybody else. We're going to do that part for you. But what I'm trying to tell you is that status don't work if you don't go work it. You got to go out there and shake the hands and kiss the babies. Because this is just a strategy. It just gives you a better strategic approach that maybe your competition don't have. That's it. All right. If a company is trying to get past performance in a prime, is interested in a JV, would you suggest the smaller company initially lower their rates to ensure the JV agreement gets done? That would be I would have to sit down and really see that. Now, the reason I say this, I never like lowering my money. It's usually enough money out there that I don't have to lower. Okay. But the reason why I'm a little hesitant on that, because if this prime relationship, some people will look at that project and go, okay, that's that one project that I can make. We're going after $5 million. I could get 25% of it and I can see how much I can make. But if this relationship has a possibility of yielding $400 million based off of the opportunities that y'all are going to go after later on, then by all means, I may lower some things down now because I got a plan put together of how I'm going to make this relationship work out. Now, it's not about that first deal to me. It's about what we're going to do after, especially if I know, this is just one step to one prime, and this prime has relationships with 10 more other primes that I'm going to need down the line, because all they got to do is pick up the phone and call their friends. So I would really, truly have to sit down and, understand the way of the land to say what would be the best option to go there with that one. All right. Lewis said the challenge is worth it. Appreciate you there, Lou. Definitely, again, make sure that you guys go to SB GovCon Live. Let me put that in the chat, www.sbgovconlive.com. Get yourself registered, guys. We're starting that on March the 2nd. March the 2nd is when it kicks off. But honestly, some pre-trainings got started today. So you guys may want to jump in there right now so you can get up to date before March the 2nd hits. Again, the pre-training has already kicked off. Go to sbgovconlive.com and get yourself registered right there. Let me see, did I miss any other questions that you guys had? I don't believe that I did. Cool. All right, I got them all out. Once again, I appreciate you guys hanging with us tonight. We did go over indirect and direct cost pricing. If you guys just came into the channel, by all means, go over to my YouTube channel, watch this bad boy on replay so you can learn about those two terms. I'm telling you, the faster you learn about indirect and direct costs, you will understand how to price. I don't care if you're doing construction work. I don't care if you're doing fix and flips. I don't care if you are doing cleaning services, lawn care. So you can ask my man, Robert. Robert, listen, if y'all are ever in the lawn care industry, man, Robert, A1 guy to be in. I'm pretty sure Robert used direct and indirect costs. I have been in this industry for over 11 years. I've consulted to businesses that have done well over $150 million. Every single business I've worked with, books had a direct and indirect cost. It's impossible not to do that. Now, before I get out of here, guys, if you guys are like me and y'all didn't have no books, okay, well, what I want you guys to do is come here to travisknows.com. I don't care how you spell nose, just put an S on the end. All right, we have a special here with QuickBooks. You can come right here. You can get 30% off of your QuickBooks for the next 6 months for using that link. Yes, I am affiliated with QuickBooks, just to give you guys a heads up right there, okay? But by all means, you're not going to get that 30% off if you don't use that link. So if you don't have a software for your books, this is the stuff that y'all going to have to add on. Okay. I'm just telling you right now, like, you're going to have the software for the books. You're going to have the software for your CRM, your marketing, your websites. These are all softwares that just cost. They keep your doors open. And again, I showed y'all how to break it down. All expenses that it costs to keep your doors open, they got to get put back on the customer. This is how I know y'all don't charge enough money, because you ain't putting your expenses on the customer. If you need funding, once again, travisknows.com, you can come right here, click there. I am partnered with a company called Ladder Financial Group. All you got to do, let me shorten my screen up here. Sorry. Oops. Once you guys get right here, all you got to do is let the experts help you. This is not my company. Once again, this is not my company. This is a company I use, Ladder Financial Group. When you fill this information out, it will go to their underwriters and they will walk you guys through getting funding. They're going to give you the exact funding that's going to be the best fit for you. So they're going to have to talk with you first. They're going to need to understand, is it the best fit to get you credit cards? Is it to get a loan? Is it to get a line of credit with the SBA? They got the connection. So that's why I always advise people to go over to them when it comes to that funding side. They will also not pull your credit or anything of that nature until it's needed, if it's needed. All right. That's the other reason why I enjoy using them too. So once again, that's travisknows.com. You can go ahead and click on access funding for that. Last but not least, guys, I need you while you're here on travisknows.com. Go ahead and click on join our Pure Money community. We have a free community right here that we just put on. I'm trying to get everybody off of Facebook, Clubhouse, YouTube, Instagram, and into our own database. I'm tired of making these big companies all this money. So we've built our own community right here on our platform. Go ahead, join us here. You guys should be able to put a request in. Our team will accept you. Introduce yourself to the community. We're going to start putting more information in here soon, so you guys don't want to miss out on that. Once again, you can visit travisknows.com and find all of the links associated with everything that I got going on. If you need a consultation one-on-one, that'll be here as well. And last but not least, if you need a credit card, guys, Amex is the way to go. That's the best one that I like to rock out with. But please don't get a credit card if you don't know how to control your spending right now. Just use your own money, okay? Outside of that, once again, I appreciate you guys for hanging out with us here today. I see that my man Robert, he said all the time. Yes, all the time. He's utilizing direct and indirect costs there because that is part of business. What starts on March the 2nd, my 30-day GovCon challenge. For 30 days, I will be with you guys. You guys are going to get missions sent to you every day starting March 2nd for tasks that you're going to need to do. Throughout the week, 2 to 3 times a week, I am going to be live with you guys for a Q&A. That means that you guys are going to get challenges, you're going to get stuck, and then I'm going to jump on Zoom, and I'm going to be live with you to answer your questions so you can get over the hurdle. This challenge does not teach you government contracting. It teaches you how to be a consultant. A consultant does business with B2B, B2G, and B2C, so we can generate revenue from all three. When you join the challenge, you're also going to get access to my GovCon Cheat Codes University back office. All of my government contracting training will all be located there. You'll get access to the replays of the challenge for 30 days after the challenge is over with, which means that you'll also keep access to GovCon Cheat Codes University for a total of 60 days. You can watch it on your own to learn more about government contracting when you do get involved. But once again, March the 2nd is our kickoff date for our 30-day challenge, and I hope to see you there. All right, guys, that's all I got for today. I appreciate y'all for hanging out with me. I see I'm back to making these shows longer than an hour. I'm supposed to be out of here in an hour. Shame on me. But I appreciate you guys for hanging out with me. Don't forget, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that share button. If you guys are still a little iffy, like, man, I just met this guy. I don't quite know who he is yet. Well, guess what, guys? I don't quite know who you are yet either. So we need to learn about each other a little bit. Why don't you guys go on ahead, follow me over here on Instagram, okay? You can take a screenshot of that QR code right there. You can go to Instagram, official Travis Davis. Follow me over there. Don't you buy one single thing from me until your gut tells you to buy it from me. I don't want you guys buying stuff and like, well, I don't know if this going to work. Because I'm telling you, I'm a no excuse person. I'm a no refund person. I don't have time for that. So if that's you, you need to get that feeling first. Go to Instagram. I try to put everything in my story about my views, thoughts, what's happening in my world that day in my story, so you can make the connection with me and realize I'm really truly here to help you guys. But I don't put up with the bullshit. I'm just going to let you guys know that right now, okay? Now, if you guys would like to stay up to date with the videos, maybe you guys didn't see something, or you guys want to continue to get educated for free, well, I got tons and tons of videos sitting on my YouTube that's talking all things business, not just government contracting, but it's a lot of government contracting information up there as well. Follow me over there on the YouTube. Take a look at our previous videos. Don't forget, every Tuesdays is a segment of our Dollars to Cents podcast. Make sure that you go back and watch our previous videos from our Dollars to Cents podcast. And when you find one video that you like, when that video dropped a nugget, I want you to pause it. I want you to take a screenshot of it, and I want you to post it on your Instagram and tag me in it so we can share it with the world. That's what I asked from you guys. But that's all I got from you guys today. I love you all. I hope that you guys truly enjoyed this segment. I will see you guys back here tomorrow at 8:30 p.m. tomorrow, not 7. We're going to test this 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time Zone live out. I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Have a blessed night.